Hey, I'm Simone. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to lead you today through an expressive arts activity, and we're going to make our very own affirmation cards. If you've never heard about that, don't worry about it. I'll tell you all about it. Okay, so what's important today is that we're going to learn how what we say to ourselves and what we say about ourselves is very important. So stick with me. I'm going to teach you all about that. What we'll need today is index cards and markers. That's what I'm going to use. But don't worry if you don't have cards or even markers. All you'll need is something to write with and something to write on. And I'll show you how to make cards out of anything in just another moment. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with a check-in. We're going to take a moment to do some reflection. Now, I want you to get into your imagination with me. What we're going to imagine is that we are looking at our emotions for the past week, right? Did you feel happy? Were you upset? Were you frustrated? Any of those things. As you are taking a moment to imagine what your emotions look like, I want you to think about what expressions are you noticing that your face is doing. Is it frowning? Is it scowling? Are you rolling your eyes? Are you smiling? Right? And then also, I want you to take a moment and think about where are you noticing that in your body. For example, when I feel very anxious, my heart is beating very quickly. So if you'll take a moment with me and journal about your experience, that'd be great. Thank you so much for completing that reflection activity with me. All right, so now I want to talk a little bit about my own story. What brings me here today? So, when I was a freshman in high school, I experienced a very traumatic loss, a loss that really changed the person that I was, although I didn't recognize it at first. So, prior to this loss, one thing that I prided myself on was I always got really good grades, like not to brag, but I was kind of like a straight A student for a long time. So after this loss, I noticed, right, I was noticing that things were a little bit different, specifically at home with my parent who was there with me. I wasn't as excited about things like I used to be, or I wasn't as outgoing as I once was. But I didn't make too much of it. I was going to school every day. It was what it was. So here we get to the end of the quarter, and would you know that I saw that report card and it just all clicked into place for me. I recognized that all these ways that I had changed was a bigger deal than I had ever even allowed myself to understand, right? So like I was saying before, I always was a very good student, but when I saw that report card, it clicked into focus that the ways in which I was behaving, I was so disconnected from the person that I had become. I didn't even recognize myself when I saw that report card. I went from straight A's to pretty much all F's. I'm kind of ashamed to say that, but I'm not ashamed to say that because this is my story and I own it and I'm okay with that. So sometimes what happens with us when we have these very traumatic experiences in our lives is that we start to change even before we realize it. And that's what was happening with me. So when I saw the report card, I had this deep inner voice just like calling out to me, which was kind of strange because I realized I hadn't heard that inner voice in a long time. I didn't even notice that it was missing until I started to look at that report card. I looked at the report card and I heard my inner self say, you are better than this. You can do better than this. Is this the way you want to represent yourself? And at first, of course, I'm like, well, who are you to tell me what I can and cannot feel? And then I realized, oh, this is me. I should probably listen to me, especially because I wanted to be known differently than that report card showed me as. I realized that prior to this traumatic loss, I really took pride in my academics, not because I was a smart kid, but because that was the one thing that I could really do and show people that I was good at it every time without failing. So now looking at that report card, I started to recognize I was not showing myself as I desired to be seen. This is when I learned about affirmations. Now, at the time, let me not act like I was all sophisticated and knew the word affirmations because I did not, okay? But what I did understand is that the way that I had been talking to myself, even without knowing it, was not very kind. It wasn't very nice. And it also was not allowing me to be the person that I wanted to be. So what did I do? I got my journal out, and I still have this journal to this day. I look at it sometimes and I remind myself of how much effort and energy I put into becoming this grown person that I am now. So I took that journal and I just started to write stuff down. Like, what did I want to see myself be like? What did I miss about myself? What was missing? How had I changed? All of these things. And from that journal entry, from those lists that I was creating, I was able to pull out some things that I wanted to see and start to say those things to and about myself in ways that were very significant. Okay, so how does this all connect to what we're doing today? I'm going to read you 3 different things so you can understand where we're going and how this story can help you build your own. Okay, so 1, expressive arts can help us reconnect to our emotions and resolve unfamiliar and unwanted behaviors. So like me not getting the grades that I wanted. 2, affirmations can shape the self-concept that a person carries, which can consequently improve their satisfaction and quality of life. So when we speak to ourselves well and we speak about ourselves well, our satisfaction with our day-to-day life can improve. And the 3rd thing is that journaling is an accessible way to express our emotions and narrate our own experiences. What that means is that most people can write something down, whether that be on a sheet of paper, in a notebook, on a note card, on a napkin even, and sometimes even in our cell phones. So let's get into it. Okay, so you've heard me say this word affirmations a lot. Now, let me just give you a simple definition of what we're going to be creating so that you know how to do it. Okay, so affirmations, simply put, is just you saying something positive to yourself to help you challenge your negative thoughts. So, for example, an affirmation is, I am strong, I am enough, right? These are statements that I will say to myself that will remind me of the things that I would like to think about myself, which in turn allows me to become those things. What is important to note about affirmations is they always have to start with a positive spin. So for example, we never say, I do not. We don't even use that language in affirmations. Instead, we say things like, I am, I have, my mind, those sorts of things. This is a verbal command that we are giving to our minds to help us to remember that when we speak positively to ourselves and about ourselves, that we can see results in our lives. All right, so now I want you to grab a pen and paper. This can be a journal or just a note card or anything like that, something to write on and something to write with. So what we're going to do first is just to create a list of personal affirmations. All right, remember, these are statements that speak well of you. So I want you to get a list of at least 10, but you can make as many as feels good to you right now. If you do not have an idea of how to get started on this, maybe what you can think about is, what kind of characteristics do I want to see in myself? What are areas that I would like to improve upon? Or what ways do I want to see myself become more firm or better in these types of areas? All right, so we're going to get started. I'm going to demonstrate here, just writing a list of affirmations. Whatever comes to mind is perfectly fine. Remember, these are statements that are positive and they help you to think great things about yourself. So just like you, I'm going to write at least 10. And just like me, if your spelling is not good, that's okay too. Okay, don't think too much about it. Just allow yourself to write down whatever comes from that deep inner voice that you have. Okay, so now that you have your list, what we're going to do is take that list and I want you to just circle, underline, star, however you notate, whichever of those affirmations seem most impactful to you. Things that really stick to your heart when you read them, like, yes, I want to say that to myself every day. Go ahead and narrow your list down, and then from there, we're going to make our affirmation cards. Okay, so now that you have a list of at least 10 affirmations written, what I'd like you to do is just take a time and narrow those down. I'm going to choose 3 just for the purposes of this activity, but you can choose as many as you'd like. I recommend no less than 5. So feel free to underline, circle, or star the ones that you would like to use. Okay, I'm going to use these 3 to make my affirmation cards. Okay, now that you have taken your list and highlighted the ones that you'd like to transfer onto your affirmation cards, let's go ahead and get started with that. If you don't have note cards like I have here, which is what I'm going to use, you can take a piece of paper and make some note cards. So because I don't have any scissors, I'm just going to fold mine and tear it. But you can use scissors for this as well. So you're going to fold it hamburger style and then hot dog style. Okay. Make sure you crease it very well. And then it's simply just tear it on the folds. Okay. And now you have note cards. Now, you can make your affirmation cards as decorative or as simple as you would like. I'm going to make some of mine pretty cute and some of the other ones pretty plain. All right. So first one here is I am powerful. I like to play with different styles of writing on my cards just because it's fun for me to look at. All right, here we go. I am powerful. All right, your turn. Let's see what you got. Okay, so for the last part of our activity today, I want you to read your affirmation cards aloud to yourself. I'm going to demonstrate how that looks, and then I want you to try it. I'm going to read mine for you directly this way, and I'd like to challenge you a little bit to try to read these in front of the mirror if you can do that. If not, saying them out loud to yourself works perfectly fine. Here we go. I have a beautiful future ahead of me. I am powerful. My mind thinks brilliant things. Did you say yours? Your turn. All right, thank you so much for participating in the activity with me today. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit of reflection. All right, so I want you to imagine again with me that replay that we thought about of our emotions earlier. All right, this time I want you to stop, close your eyes, and think of 2 affirmations that you can say to yourself right now. I'll give you a second. All right, now that you've thought of those 2 affirmations, I'd like you to just take a moment and notice, is there anything different about the way you feel about those emotions that you've had earlier, or do you notice any other sensations in your body? For example, when I say something positive to myself, I feel a lot of joy in my heart. Okay, so whatever your experience was, let's just take a second and journal about that. All right. Thank you for committing to this time to create and affirm with me. I really am so glad that you are here. All right, so let's end on this note. We're going to say some affirmations together. I'd like for you to repeat after me, okay? My thoughts are powerful. I use them to build me up, not to break me down. My words carry weight. I use them to lift me up, not to limit me. Awesome. If this resonates with you, the Healing in Motion series has other workshops that you can try. Check them out.